Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. In today's video I'm going to be going over how to create a simple portal in Unreal Engine with C++. So essentially what this will do, you'll walk through a doorway and it'll transport you to the next doorway. So I've created this project with Unreal Engine. I've done it as a third person template using C++ and I've called it Portal. So first off we're going to jump straight into all C++ classes, Portal. I'm going to create a new C++ class. And scroll all the way to the bottom. I'm going to create an interface. This is our interact interface. So when we interact with the door, it'll teleport us to the next one. So let's create that. I'm going to call it interact interface like we have with many of my other videos. So if you know how to do this and do the character, just skip ahead a bit to the bit after the character and then carry on from there. That class has been created. So first off we need a U function, blueprint callable, blueprint native events. We'll call this void start interact. We're going to have two parameters and it's going to be the portal character and the portal player controller. So a portal, it's called a actor, a portal character there. Forward declare it, there's going to be a pointer, I'm just going to call it char for character. And then the next one I'm going to do is a player controller, portal player controller, sorry. There we go. Forward declare that. That as a pointer, I'm going to call this player controller. Perfect, just there. That's one function down. The next one's going to be exactly the same, just change the name of the function. And that'll be end interact. We don't use end interact much on this, but it's always good to have it there ready if we do need to use it. So let's jump over into the character. So first up, we need a begin play. I'm just going to create a begin play here. Perfect. And then we need a private section. There we go. We need the on-end overlap functions and non-end overlap functions. So I'm just going to copy and paste these in. You've probably seen these a million times in my videos, so just delete that. Delete that. Delete that. There we go. On-end overlap and an on-overlap. What else do we need? We need the player controller for this character. So let's have a U property. So we're going to pass these through on overlap. We need a T object pointer. And that'll be a portal wrong one. It's a portal player controller forward declaration. And we'll call this PC. Perfect. Let's create these three functions. There we go. Generate definitions. Let's go. So on begin play, we need to get the capsule component, which is just there. We need to do on component, begin overlap, add dynamic. And then we need to pass in this. Then we need to pass in the reference to the A portal character on overlap. So that's the first one done. The second one is on end overlap. Let me change it to on end overlap there because I've duplicated. And this one's not begin overlap, it's end overlap. So that's perfect. We also need to get this player controller for this character and equal it to get the controller. So we need to pass in a portal character, sorry, not character, player controller. There we go. And that should get the player controller for us on this character. Now we've got the player controller, we do need to do an on overlap and end overlap, but you haven't made the class for our portal door. So let's jump back in Unreal Engine and create a door. So back in C++ classes here, I'm going to create a new class. I'm going to call that an actor, and this will be a portal door. So let's create the portal first now. Portal door, create class. Perfect, it's created the portal door. First thing I'm going to create is a U property, and this is going to be edit anywhere, blueprint read write, not read only. We're also going to have it as a category, and it's portal door. And this will be the T object pointer to our uScene component. I'm going to call this root component. Perfect. Let's duplicate that. And then at the end of this U property, we want meta equals brackets allow private access equals true. This will be a U box component. We'll declare that, call it collision box. Perfect, we've got that there. Let's duplicate that again. And this one will be a use static mesh component for the door frame. So we'll call this door frame. There we go, perfect. We also need to add in our interact interface, so let's add it at the top. So public, this is the I interact interface just there, perfect. Let's add the functions, so it'll be start, interact implementation, 24 is there, and end, interact implementation, perfect. Then we need to create a spawn location where the character will be spawning. So this will be a U property, F vector, sorry about that, F vector, spawn lock. There we go. Next one, we need another spawn location. So I'm just going to duplicate that but edit it. This will be the offset of how far in front we want it to go of the door. So from what I've tested in the past, it's usually about, so F, make another vector there, and we'll put about, it's about 100 on the X. Hopefully that works perfectly. From what I've tested in the past, it has. So blueprint read write, can go category port door, that's fine. And then we do need a reference to our door, so which one to spawn. So we don't want to spawn on the current door one, we want to spawn on the other door. So what we need here, same again for the U property, let's do it for us. So this will be a T weak object pointer, and this will be a portal door. Door, equal door, that's perfect. So that's the H all done. Let's just create these functions here, generate definitions, perfect. So let's create the default sub-objects. I'm going to copy and paste. I'll be back in one moment. Save doing it all, you can just copy and paste. Right, I've just realised I should have called it scene component, not root component, because there's already a component called root component. So go back to the door, change this to scene component, just like that, perfect. And now we have scene component there. We need to include definition for U box component. And on my previous project I called it box collision, I'll call it collision box on this one, which is fine. So I'll just call it collision box. But yeah, these are just creating them so we can see them in Unreal Engine. So box collision, there's collision box. Collision Cox, I've called it there. Like Courtney Cox. Right, so that's perfect. Now on begin play, we want the spawn location equal the door, then we'll do get actor location plus spawn location offset. So that's perfect. It'll spawn in front of the door at whatever location offset we put, so it's 100 on the X in front of the door. Perfect. We don't need anything in the end interact, maybe in the future we will, but this is just a simple portal. So first thing we need under here is char, get the character. We need to teleport the character, so we'll get teleport to, passing in the spawn location, and then for the rotation we'll get the character's rotation, so char get actor rotation. There we go, perfect. Plus the F rotator, so we need to rotate the character, and we have it out rotator, and then we need it'll be 0, and then we need it'll be 180 and 0. So in the yaw we're pitching it by 180, so it spins it, and then in here we'll have false for, and then true. I'll tell you what these are now. So is it a test? No. B check? No. So let's just have a look. Perfect, yeah. So is a test? No. Is a check? True. We'll check, yeah. Perfect. Next we need to rotate the player camera as well. So do another F rotator here, call it new rotation or new rot, equal that to player controller, which one we pass in, then get controller rotation. Oh, I need to include controller, doesn't like it, get controller rotation, then new rot, we need to change the yaw, and then we're adding 180F. Should never really use magic numbers, but we are here. New rotation F, then player controller, set controller rotation. While we're here, we do need to check if these are passed in correctly. So let's check is valid character and is valid player controller. Perfect. All that can go inside, because if neither of them are valid, I don't want to be going into it and causing crashes. So that's perfect. That is everything. Now we can go back to the character. We can do the on overlap functions because we have the portal door created. Now let's do the on overlap functions. We're going to do if is valid for the PC, for the player controller, PC, and then T object pointer for a portal door, and we'll just call it PD for portal door, and then equal it to cast to a portal door other actor. So that's perfect. Then we need if u Kismetic library, Kismet system library, sorry. Kismet system library there, sorry I couldn't find it then. Does implement interface, and then we pass in the PD for portal door, passing in the U interact interface, and this will be the static class of it. We got that there, perfect. Now in here it's I interact interface, and it'll be execute. Where's execute start interact, pass in the portal, PD, portal door, and then this, and then the player controller passed in, which is PC. Perfect. So all we need to do for that is copy and paste, put in end overlap if we ever use that. I don't think we do, but it's always good to have. And then just change this to end. Perfect. Next thing we can do is go and check if it works. We'll create it in Unreal Engine now. So let's live code. Live code was successful, as you can see at the bottom right here. Now let's create the portal door. Create blueprint, call it BP portal door, and let's create this now. So what I would like for the door, do we have door frame? I don't know if we do. We've got a door frame. No, we don't. So really quick, let's add in, go to add, and it's add feature or content pack. Go to content and add the starter content. I'll add that in now. Right, the starter content has been added. So go back to door, go to static mesh, type in door frame. You should get this one. I'm just going to change the colour of the door. Let's compile so we can get the material. Type in blue. Surely there's a blue colour, template based blue. That looks nice. Let's do the door frame collision box. Oh, sorry, pressed the wrong buttons. Right. Let's make them a bit wider. Tiny bit smaller. Perfect. Now let's test it. Let's drag a door into the world. We're facing that way for the player start. Drag one over. Right, so let's link them. So let's go down in here. Let's find. So we found door here. Click pick actor from scene. That door, and then this one, I'll pick the other door. So we could have one door, or multiple doors, sorry, leading to one like portal door entrance, or you could just have multiple doors all go into different ones. You could also do a randomized function, so it'll send you to different ones, but just for now, we're just going to do a simple 2 doors, go to each different one. So let's test it out. Right, run towards this door. Spawns me there. Always spawns me at the front there. And the camera rotation is perfect. So if I go through this back one, it'll spawn me that way. Perfect. Now what we want to do is have an image in the doorway showing where that portal leads to. So to do that, we're going to use a uScene component. A uScene capture component 2D, sorry. So first off, we want to create, we're going to duplicate this. Go down, so we're going to have a T object pointer. This is going to be another uStatic mesh. We're going to call this camera cube. So the image will be displayed on this. That's perfect. Let's duplicate that. I'm just going to create a uScene component as well. So this will be a uScene component, capture component 2D. I'm just going to call this scene capture. Perfect. We just need to create that in here. So I'm just going to drag from my previous project and just paste it in. Right, I've copied and pasted it in here. We just need to make sure we've got the include for uScene capture component 2D, which we have there. Perfect. Let's live code and then sort it out in Unreal Engine. First thing I'm going to do on my base one is what, so I don't forget, is go to the door frame, go to the collision presets, go to custom, and change it from to ignore camera so the camera can go through it. We'll do that for the camera cube and the plane. So custom, ignore camera. That's perfect. Right, what we need to do now, first off, is we need to create the render target that we need. So we go texture, render target. I'm going to call this RT portal underscore 01. So we're going to have two of these. Do the same again. Texture, render target, RT portal underscore 02. So we need a render target for each one. Let's have the X and Y at 2048 on both. So let's just do that, 2048. Save that there. We need to do the same for the other one. 2048. Let's save that. Perfect. Right, from these now, we need to create a material to put on our plane. As you'll see, we have a camera cube here, but we haven't actually got a mesh for it. So let's just use a general cube. So I'm doing this on the base one so it affects them all. I think I need to change that to about 0.1. There we go. And from what I remember, you need to rotate this, sorry. So I need to edit it there. And it'll look like this. Perfect. That's the camera cube. And we will put our material there. So let's create the materials for each one. So let's create material off RT portal 01. And this is going to be called M underscore portal 01. So what we need to do is click on here, the M portal 01 node, and change the shading model to unlit. And put the RGB into emissive color. And that should look perfect. And do the same for this one. I need to change the name of that dead quick. So I've called that M underscore portal underscore 02. So for each one, there we go, perfect. So let's click on our first door, which is portal door number 1. Let's go down to the scene capture component, and the texture target will be portal 01. Let's move it up to, oh, actually we'll change it on the base one here. So it changes it for more. The scene capture, just drag it up here, pull it forward a little bit like that. That's perfect. So now we've got it there, and then where have we gone? Scene capture component, that's the portal there. And then for the scene capture on this one, the texture target will be number 2. That's perfect. They're all working. So for on the portal door 1, you want the camera cube to have the portal number 2 showing the other door's portal. So type in portal and put 02. And on the camera cube on this one, we want portal 01. Perfect. Oh, they're sideways. I thought I fixed that, but clearly not. Back to the camera cube. Let's rotate it this way. And then create a bit bigger like that. That should look perfect. And if we go up to each one, if you look at the other door, you can see each other, like me on the other door for the use scene capture component. So let's play it again. You see me here, you can see me running on that one. You can see me there on the other door, perfect. And when you run through it, it'll spawn you at the other one. Perfect. And we do have a small problem on that one. Why is it dark on this one? Oh, the reason that one was dark is because I forgot to do it on the other portal here. The material is put that as unlit. Put his emissive colour there. Easy to forget about this one because I did the first one. So, both should be lit. Yeah, that's perfect. Let's check again. And that's our portals up and running. perfect. That's how we want it. So we've got two different portals. Let's drag them somewhere else in the world just to show. This one could be over there. That one could be about there. So if I run through this one, I'm over here. Run through that one, and back over here. That's perfect. If you also want to create an old-timey look, so what we can do, we go into the portal, I think we type in cheap contrast. Yeah, put that into the UVs there. Sorry, I've done it the wrong bit. Cheap contrast here, sorry. Put it in there. Let's just copy that because I'm going to use it on the other one. Give an old time look. This reminds me a bit like Bioshock Infinite, when you could go through the portals in there. And then if we look at it now, oh, have we only updated one? That's strange. That one's updated. Right, they're both updated, and now you've got the old-timey look in this one. So you could do it and then change the contrast of the player's screen to old-timey, but when you go back through, you could have it back how it is now. So that's perfect. I'd like to say thank you very much for watching. Can you please like, comment and subscribe? Videos every Saturday. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much and goodbye.